everybody, Backyard Bullion here. So today I want to talk a little bit about silver stacking culture, more specifically the differences in stacking culture here in the UK versus silver stacking culture in the North American market, specifically the US. I want to talk about this because I get a lot of questions on my big unboxing videos that I do, the big group order unboxings, from US stackers basically asking why we're paying so much for our silver, because even though we in the UK perceive it to be incredibly cheap silver, buying it from these big group orders, it's actually still probably quite expensive when compared with the US market. So it's one that's really, really interesting. Also, this is the very last weekend of this last recent group order that I'm arranging via the Silver Forum from goldsilver.be. If you're in the UK and you haven't heard about buying silver from Europe before, or these group orders, then please do head on over to the Silver Forum. There's a link down in the description below. The order is open until tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. on Sunday, and you can get hold of a lot cheaper silver than you would if you were to buy it here in the UK. So that is the kind of crux of the matter, really, why we have to pay more for our silver, and that's because here in the UK we have sales tax, VAT. Now I'm not going to go into those whole kind of arguments about why it's there and why we should pay VAT on our silver. Primarily it's because it's an industrial metal and the government's greedy and wants to get hold of some of our money, but ultimately it is what it is. We have to pay sales tax on our silver, which means pretty much the cheapest silver that one can buy here in the UK is usually about 35 to 40% premium over the spot price, which is obviously a real killer. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, because in the UK, when you look to sell a lot of your silver, you do recoup most of that premium on the second-hand market. However, that is only really on the sort of second-hand market via places like forums or via eBay. Now, obviously, those have their own pitfalls, and you can't necessarily get a quick sale. You certainly can't get a quick sale for maybe the price that you looked to pay originally. So it's an interesting decision when stacking silver here in the UK. You really do have to have a lot more of a kind of safety net underneath you, because if you are forced to sell your silver quickly, then you're going to be in trouble, and that's one of the biggest pitfalls of stacking silver here in the UK. But what we can do is mitigate that to some extent by doing these group orders. We can buy silver from Europe, and that gives us VAT advantage, basically, because we're in the EU. We pay the local rate of VAT in the country that we buy it in, and then we import it here to the UK. And because we're in the EU, there is no import duty, so we are laughing. We get our silver probably on average about 15% over spot. That is about as cheap as it gets for silver coins here in the UK and Europe. But even that is quite a large premium when compared with the US market. And I get comments a lot on my channel when I do these big group unboxings. Like the last one we did, for example, was a 1200 ounce unboxing. I'm going to take this coin out of the capsule because this one, by the way, has got a huge scratch on it from the Royal Mint. Very interesting. But anyway, I digress. The last unboxing we did was 1200 ounces of silver. There was some platinum and a few other bits and bobs in there. A lot of numismatic coins. Look at this big old nasty gouge in here. But nevertheless, it was still quite expensive silver when compared with the US market. I think we paid an average of something like $24 an ounce, but there were quite a few premium coins in there, I suppose. However, we still paid a very large premium. So in the US, you'd be very, very unhappy to be paying 10-15% premium over spot for your silver. And I often see deals, and I see it through YouTube, people putting up notifications about different deals which are available on eBay through some of the big dealers, and you can get cash back via eBay bucks. We don't have eBay bucks here in the UK, which is a big thing. We have Nectar points, but that doesn't really give very much back at all. And we also don't necessarily get as many dealers putting good prices out on eBay, because, again, they will have to charge VAT. They'll also have to factor in the eBay sellers fees as well. So whether it's dealers being a little bit greedy, perhaps, but at the end of the day, we don't have a lot of cheap silver available, which is a real shame. So that really impacts how we, as a UK investor in silver, as a UK stacker of silver, kind of formulate our longer term plans. And certainly for myself, it affects how I go ahead with my longer term kind of pension stacking, because one reason to buy silver is it's very undervalued at the moment, but one reason not to buy silver is because it holds a very large premium over spot. You can pick up gold here in the UK for 2% over spot, 3% over spot fairly regularly. If you look on some of the big dealers, I use a dealer called Atkinson's right now. If you wanted to, if you had the money available, you could go on there and buy a 5 ounce cast Perth Mint bar at 2.75% over spot, which is fantastic for a new bar right from a dealer. Absolutely amazing price. Now, of course, that is a very low premium, and if you were looking to sell that gold at the other end, you'd be able to liquidate it for spot price very quickly. I demonstrated this on the video I did last Wednesday. There was a chap on the Silver Forum last weekend who put out a sales thread with nearly £10,000 worth of gold. He sold £7,500 at spot price within a few hours. So you can easily sell that. The swing, if you were forced to sell immediately, is 2%. Now, 2% is hardly anything. We saw, sort of 4%, 5% gains in one day on gold in that big spike. So, you can quite easily protect yourself. And if you have to sell, that is one way to protect yourself. But if you do that with silver in the UK, you're going to be up the brown creek without a paddle, because you're not going to, certainly if you sell it back to a dealer, you'll be lucky to get spot price. Some coins might be a little bit more if they're premium coins like these Oriental Border Britannias, but ultimately it's not going to be a good day for you. So that really affects the way that we in the UK stack our silver, and I have noticed, certainly from doing these group orders, that whilst there's a definite contingent of people who look to stack the cheapest possible silver that is available out there, things like the Philharmonicas or Kangaroos and things like that from goldsilver.be, there is also quite a large contingent of people who are willing to pay a little bit more of a premium for coins like this Oriental Border Britannia, like the Spade Guinea, which has been released recently. That is an absolutely awesome coin, and hopefully we'll have a whole bunch of those coming in the order that I'm arranging. But people are more willing to pay for these kind of premium style coins because they are hopefully going to yield them a little bit more profit in the future. So over in the USA, premium grade kind of coins are often looked at in a negative light. Gosh, I can't get this open. There we go. Have a look at the Oriental Border Britannia without the capsule lid on. Yeah, so in the USA, premium grade coins are not necessarily as favourably looked upon. You do get a lot more of the kind of generic cheap grade bullion out there, and people do not like to pay very much over spot for their stuff. But over here in the UK, people are much more willing and able to take that kind of punt, as it were, on these coins gaining in premium, and they'll use them as a kind of bargaining tool to flip up and increase the weight volume that one has paid for them. So it is an interesting difference in strategy. It's one which I definitely have taken advantage of in the past, and it's one which I'm hoping to take advantage of again in the future. Coins like this Oriental Border Britannia, I think, are a real winner for the future. Also, when I'm looking to decide on what kind of silver that I want to stack for the future, it's very much looking at things like the Queen's Beast series, for example, which have had huge premium growths over this last couple of months. Certainly the Lion and the Griffin have really done incredibly well, both in silver and gold. So it's one of those things where you need to kind of think about what is going to be best for you. And for us over here in the UK, yes, buying silver from Europe is the cheapest way to do it, but if you can pick up some good, cheap, numismatic-y style coins, semi-numismatics, like the Queen's Beast series, then I think you're pretty much quids in. So I'd love to know your opinions on this subject. If you're in the USA, what do you think about that for us? It's not a particularly nice scenario. Also, it's one which is still kind of, it's up in the air really at the moment, because whilst we've had a little bit of good news here in the UK regarding Brexit in terms of an extension to the existing kind of trading arrangements here, which means we can continue to purchase silver from the European Union at decent prices, there's still no long-term kind of solution about what's going to happen with silver and how we're going to be able to stack it. And I, for one, know that if it comes to it and we have no choice but to buy silver at kind of 35–40% premium, regardless of where we buy it, a lot of my investment cash in metals will be going straight into gold for the long term, because it's just not worth it with those premiums. It is going to be a very, very difficult landscape to stack silver in the UK post-Brexit if we don't get some kind of favourable trade arrangement. That said, there are potential opportunities which would be very interesting if we came up with a trade agreement with the USA, for example, by which we could have a certain amount of free trade as an individual, in which case we could theoretically be buying spot price silver from the USA and importing it into the UK for free, which would be absolutely amazing. If we did that, I would love to be able to do a group order from APMEX, for example. That would be absolutely fantastic. But all of that is a long way in the future, and it's obviously completely unknown as well. So in the meantime, if you're in the UK and you want to find out more about how we get hold of silver for a considerably cheaper price, and for example, these Oriental Border Britannias, if you were looking to buy these in the UK, probably the cheapest place that you can buy them We'll be selling them for about £22-23 new from a dealer. You might be able to get slightly cheaper on the second-hand market or eBay, but pretty much 23-24 quid. If you buy them from the European Mint via this, or goldsilver.be via this group order, you'll probably be spending about 16 quid a coin, maybe a little bit more with postage, 16.25, 16.50 per coin, depending on how many you buy. So huge savings are available if you wanted to pick up coins like this, or just generally other silver coins as well. So head on over to the Silver Forum. There's a link down below to the thread. As I said, the order is closing tomorrow evening at 6 PM sharp. So make sure that you get in touch way before then, because I'll need to give you your quote and you need to pay me, and then we'll order your coins. And hopefully that means in a couple of weeks' time we will have a pretty epic unboxing video for you guys. I don't think we're going to beat the 1,200 ounces that we did about 6 weeks ago. That was a ridiculously large sum, but maybe we will, I don't know. If you would like to see that unboxing, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and if you do hit the subscribe button, hit the alarm bell and you'll get notifications when those videos go live. Otherwise, if you like this video, please put a thumbs up on it, and please do comment if you're a US stacker. What I would love to hear specifically is if you're a US stacker that has moved to the UK, and how are you dealing with the increased in prices of buying your silver. If you're still buying silver, if you're not buying silver, I'd love to know that. Definitely very interesting topic indeed. Otherwise, that's all I have to say. If you could put a thumbs up on the video, share it around through your social media, as always, that would be very helpful to everything I do. If you like my channel and you'd like to support my channel, then please head on over to my website, backyardbullion.com, and consider purchasing some of my hand-poured silver. All of the proceeds go towards helping keeping this channel alive and going and thriving. Otherwise, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend ahead. And please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.